I am so excited to say that for the first time in nearly 20 years, I am not on any prescription medication. I mean, it's really crazy to think out of all the years and the GI doctors and the stuff that going carnivore would heal my digestive system. At one point I was crawling up the steps in my house, but honestly, since going carnivore and not having any sweet tastes, I don't crave it at all. It was really scary because I knew a couple of people who had lupus, and it was kind of a death sentence for them. People may make fun of you and call you weird, but when you understand the benefits and really immerse yourself in it, I think that makes it a lot easier to try it.
Hello, everyone. Adam with Carnivore today. Today we have a very special guest, Barb Harrell. So, Barb, for those that don't know you, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes. So first of all, Adam, thank you for having me here. I really appreciate it. I'm a huge fan of your show. But
Oh, thank
yes,
you.
my name is Barb Harrell, and I live in Knoxville, Tennessee. I've been married to my husband for 35 years. We have two kids, both grown and married. And we have three feisty felines that keep us on our toes all the time. Um, I retired from my corporate career last year and have started my own health and wellness coaching business.
Oh, that's awesome, especially the part about cats. I'm a cat dad or cat guy, I guess. I don't know, whatever that is. Maybe I lost my man card by saying that, but I just love cats.
No, we love cats, and the three of them, they just rule. And growing up, we always, when my kids were growing up, we had cats, and they would always say, "Mom, it's not fair. Those cats are just rotten. You spoil them, and you don't spoil us like that." And I was like, "Well, hey, they don't have to function in society. You do. So I can spoil them rotten, and it only hurts me."
Right, exactly. They can't get a job.
No,
Right.
I wish they could. I've tried, but they're just not very receptive to that.
Right. So you basically you started a coaching business. That's correct.
Yes. Yeah, I just
So
launched
let's
my
get into
business.
that. Yeah, let's get into that a little bit. And what's the name of it? What exactly do you do? And then we'll dive into what inspired you to actually start that coaching business.
Okay. The name of the business is Encouraging Wellness. So I've got a website, encouragingwellness.org. And just through my own health journey, I just have spent probably the last 10 years like really researching and diving into health. And I decided to take a coaching course a couple of years ago. Wasn't really sure what I was going to do with it. I was still working my corporate job and taking the class at night. And I discovered so much about myself taking that course that I never expected. One of the things is that, I had to be the client. And what I heard myself say made me realize that I was not living in alignment with my purpose. Yes, I had a great job and it was good, but that's not what I was meant to do. And I just really felt like, wow, I want to help people. I don't want people to have to go through and research and do all the things that I had to do all those years to figure things out. If I could help them do that, then that would be really great. So that's kind of what inspired me. And I was blessed enough to be able to do that. And so, yeah, I've just gotten it started and it's been great so far.
I love that. So you've been on quite the journey with your health. So things haven't always been as good. You look great, by the way,
Thank
and
you.
it's you shared this prior to this podcast, some of the issues that you have been dealing with, and wow, it's pretty miraculous that you're feeling as good as you do with having all these issues. So can you kind of dive into your health history a little bit?
Sure. So, looking back, my health issues probably started when I was very young. Uh, Lots of antibiotics, ear infections, all that kind of stuff. Uh, Not a great diet, but I really didn't know that I had any issues until my early 30s. And then I wasn't feeling great. I went to a corporate health fair at work and my bone density was really low. I was carrying some extra weight, I had little kids, I was tired. And so I started to try to do some things to improve my health. Tried to lose weight. I did all the diets. I mean, grew up in the 80s, every diet imaginable. I tried it.
What kind of diets were you doing?
Oh gosh, I did Weight Watchers. I did LA weight loss. I did juicing diets. I did whatever the latest fad was that I read in a magazine. Because back then you read magazines, it wasn't on the internet. And yeah, I tried all of that stuff. And then in later years, I tried paleo and Whole30 and keto, all of those iterations. But honestly, mostly from a motivation of losing weight. It was more about vanity than it was being healthy. So,
Okay.
so in my 30s, again, I wasn't feeling great. And then I started breaking out in psoriasis on my scalp. And it was really yucky. Like the kids used to tease me and say, "Oh, Mom, you've got cooties," because they would just snow all over my shoulders. And, went to the dermatologist and they're like, "Oh, we'll give you this shampoo, all the tar stuff, the creams." I tried all of it and it didn't really work. And I was like, okay, well, it's just one of those things. I said, there's nothing I can do about it. And then a couple of years later, my foot started hurting and it started swelling. And I went to my chiropractor and said, "Gosh, what's going on with my foot?" And he said, "Well, let's x-ray it." And when he did, there was an old stress fracture there. And he said, "I'm going to put you in a boot. This is probably from that fracture." I was like, okay. So I was in a boot for a few weeks and my foot continued to swell. And I was like, you got to take me out of this boot. It's too heavy. Something's not right. Well, he took me out of the boot and it kept swelling. So fast forward several months and a podiatrist later, they finally referred me to a rheumatologist. And by the time I got there, it was like 7 or 8 months. And not only was my foot swollen, my knees were swelling, my hands were swelling. I was in a lot of pain. And the rheumatologist diagnosed me with psoriatic arthritis and immediately put me on a biologic. And so I started taking this injection and I came back in a couple of weeks. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I feel great." And he said, "Do you know that your other foot is swollen? Do you know that you're still?" I'm like, "No, I feel so much better." And he said, "This isn't enough." So he added a really nasty drug called methotrexate to my mix. And speaking of cats, thank you, cats.
Love it.
Wonderful. Anyway, he added that drug to the regimen, and then this just sent me on years of nasty pharmaceuticals, injections, and infusions. What would happen is a drug would work for a while, and then it wouldn't work, and so they would have to either up the dosage or shrink the amount of time in between doses. So it was not good, and it sort of controlled it. I was able to function. At one point, I was crawling up the steps in my house, so being able to do things was good, but it was still really disconcerting. And I didn't really want people to know about it. And still today, it's kind of, I'm conflicted about it. I do want people to know because it's important that people know that they can recover and put things in remission. But at the same time, I never wanted to be the disease. I never wanted to be that person that was sick. So my joint issues kind of stabilized, but then I started having issues swallowing and went back to the doctor and, told him about it. And he's like, "Oh, you know what? I think it's just stress." And I was like, I acknowledge that I'm probably stressed. I have a job and little kids and all that stuff, but something's not right. So it took a couple of years before they finally sent me for this test, and I had to eat something that looked like graham crackers with marshmallow fluff, and they videoed it going down, and the tech said, "Oh gosh, I see it." I'm like, "What?" And she said, "Well, the muscles in your throat don't work properly, and the flap that pushes food down is not working." And I was just ecstatic. I was like, "Oh, thank gosh, I'm not nuts." But she said, "But that's not normal. We don't know why it's like that." And I was like, "Oh, okay, that's weird." And I went back to my rheumatologist and I told him about it. And he said, you know what, we need to pull some other blood work from you. And so he did. And then I'll never forget, I was at work and he called me, and it, not his nurse, but he actually called and said, hey, I need you to stop taking your meds right now. And I'm like, why? And he said, you have lupus, and the medication for lupus contraindicates the medication for psoriatic arthritis. So you
Oh,
can't
wow.
take both. And I said, well, what am I supposed to do when I can't walk in a couple of weeks? And he said, well, call me. So I did and went back. And at that point, I really started to question what was going on. Like, really, am I going to have to take these drugs and they're going to keep giving me another diagnosis? I mean, what does this look like? And in the meantime, I had my chiropractor pull some functional labs and discovered that I had type 2 diabetes. And that was most likely from the steroids, because in addition to all those other nasty drugs, I was on steroids for years, like a low dose. And I think that's really what led to blood sugar issues that I had no idea about. And so I was able to reverse that by just kind of going low carb. In my mind, if something had sugar in it, I didn't need to eat it because that was going to raise my sugar. So that's kind of on my own. I just kind of cut those things out and had decent success with that.
Wow. So that's quite the journey. So let's go back to the lupus diagnosis. When you were actually diagnosed with that, what were the thoughts that were going through your head with that?
It was really scary because I knew a couple of people who had lupus, and it was kind of a death sentence for them. They just didn't live anymore. And so I did some research and looked at things. I mean, and it wasn't great. But again, I was not willing to just say, okay, well, I've got lupus now and I'm just going to not do anything about it. And so I think it really motivated me to start looking into health, really, what can I do?
Okay. So at that point, what did you do?
So I started listening to podcasts, looking stuff up on the internet, reading books. I mean, just anything that I could get my hands on. And I started experimenting with my nutrition. I mentioned before, I kind of did paleo and Whole30. I was vegan for a short period of time, not as long as you were, but that didn't
Well,
work
that's
well for
good.
me. Yeah, did not work very well for me. Yeah, I was just trying to do whatever I could. I eliminated gluten in 2019, and I had some success with those things, but never, it never really moved the needle like I was hoping it would. And I continued to ask, the doctors, what can I do? And nobody seemed to have an answer. And I think my doctor really thought it was kind of nuts because I don't want to be on medicine. And I'm always asking, what can I do to get off of this stuff? I don't think that's typical, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, it's not. Yeah. So the lupus medication that they had you on, do you remember exactly what that was?
I think they tried me on sulfasalazine, and I saw nothing. And they tried me on hydroxychloroquine and saw nothing. I mean, nothing that was specifically targeted for lupus ever seemed to do anything for me. I think the drugs for psoriatic arthritis were more effective. I mean, and basically they're kind of the same class of drugs, and so it's hard to know what's doing what.
Okay. So for those that don't really understand what lupus is, can you kind of walk through, what your symptoms were with that?
Yeah, for me, my symptoms were I was having trouble swallowing, and I also had issues with gut motility, so it kind of affects my whole digestive system. And like an easy way to think about lupus is kind of like having arthritis for your organs. I mean, it can attack any organ system in your body. It can also attack your joints or your skin or anything like that. But I mean, heart, lungs, kidneys, digestive, all of those things. Inflammation sets in there and causes all kinds of issues.
Okay, so when did things start to actually turn for you in a better direction?
Well, really pretty recently, in 2024, in May, I was listening to a podcast, and Amanda Decker, who is a nurse practitioner out of Dixon, Tennessee, she works with Dr. Barry. She was on a podcast, and it was just I don't know, I think it was a keto podcast. And she was talking about her psoriasis and how she put it into remission on the carnivore diet. And I was like, you know what? I'm doing it. So that very day, I went to Costco. I got some beef sticks, and so I had no idea what I was doing, and decided that I would go carnivore. And I started listening to everything. Then I started looking up carnivore doctors and influencers and just really immersed myself in that. Was very fascinated by it. And yeah, this almost 14 months later, that's what I've been doing. It's been great.
Awesome. So in that 14 months, have you actually reduced medications and things like that?
I am so excited to say that for the first time in nearly 20 years, I am not on any prescription medications. And the last time that I tried to go off of medications, it did not go well. Now, I'm not going to say everything's perfect. Still have a little bit of inflammation. I last summer had to have a tetanus shot, and that sent me into a flare. So, I mean, there are things that, are not completely healed, but, I have so many years of not only having an illness, but so many years of taking drugs with horrible side effects that I think that it would be a little much for me to expect everything to just vanish all of a sudden. So I'm excited, if I feel this good at 14 months, what does it look like in another 12 months, another 2 years, another 5 years? So I'm just excited to see what's next.
That's awesome. So that really bodes well for your coaching business. You have lived what a lot of people are suffering from right now. So you have a unique perspective on being able to help that person. I want to dive into the coaching stuff again. And so where did you actually get your certification from? Because I'm in the middle of going through a course with the Nutrition Network. So hopefully by the end of the year, I'll be a certified Nutrition Network practitioner, but still working on it.
So I went through Mind Body Green and took a course to be able to sit for the NBCHWC, the National Board of Health and Wellness Coaches. So that's a pretty robust certification. You have to have so many hours of videoed coaching, and you have to have so many hours of actually coaching logged, and then there's an exam. So I took that exam and passed it. So that gives me a board certification. That's continuing education credits. So I'll have to renew that, I think, every 3 years. And then in addition to that, I got certified in functional nutrition from Mind Body Green. Then I'm also certified in carnivore, keto, and protein sparing modified fast nutrition through Keto Adapted, which is Craig and Maria Emmerich's platform. And additionally, I'm about to take a course from Dr. Kiltz on carnivore. So, I mean, I just think there's so much to learn and to know. Like, I would take all the certifications. And it's so interesting. Not only have I learned a ton from all of those courses, but every time I coach somebody, I learn something new.
I love that. Yeah, the Dr. Kilt's coach certification. I'm considering that. I'm surprised he hasn't reached out and gave me some information on that. So I'm gonna have to get on him about that. But
yeah, I mean, go now, because I think they're offering it at maybe a half price, and then the course is going to start July 1st. So if you email him and get in there quick.
Right, I'll have to do that for sure. Very cool. So can you maybe give us an example of what one of your coaching sessions is like?
Hey there, quick message.
Doing carnivore alone can feel isolating. That's why we built Healing Humanity Life. It's the Good Vibe Tribe. Real support, expert Q&As, and unlimited access to courses like our Carnivore Diet Foundations course. No more figuring it out solo. Links in the description.
Oh, okay. Well, first of all, I think it's really important to develop that connection and rapport with the client, and just to really figure out what they're looking for. And I think the thing I most often find is that what people think they want may not actually be that. And for example, so I have a client who said, "Hey, I really want to lose weight." And so I was like, okay. And so when I asked her, "What does health mean to you?" And excuse me, her answer was, "Well, I really think being connected to my family and having a good mindset and all of those things, that's what health means to me." And so we talked a little bit, and then I kind of repeated that back to her. I said, "Okay, you want to lose weight, but what you just said was that what health means is having those connections and the right mindset and all of that." And she said, "Oh, I didn't realize that." And I said, "Well, then I think that that's where we need to start. And, this isn't my concept that losing weight is a side effect of becoming healthy, but I really think it is. And you have to start with what is most important. And that varies by individual. I think everybody's going to have a slightly different definition of what health is. And I think starting there and then working with them to figure out, hey, what will help me reach my health goals? What can I do? What's sustainable? Because lots of stuff will work. I can help somebody lose weight, but is that sustainable? So, that's kind of, in a nutshell, in a coaching session, kind of figure out what really needs to happen, and then how to set goals that are achievable and aren't in addition to your life. Like, everybody's already busy. And so if I said, "Hey, Adam, in order to be healthy, I need you to go work out an hour in the gym, and I need you to meal prep for 40 minutes a day, and I need you," that's
No, thanks.
overwhelming. Yeah, that's too much. So I think that it's really important to be able to work those healthy habits and things that are going to move you forward. Just work it into your daily life where it's not this massive undertaking that you have to do.
That's great. I love that. So, in terms of people that come to you for coaching, is it the majority of them, are they carnivore, are they keto?
No, most of them are not. It's kind of interesting because I have a few that know, that I'm carnivore, but yeah, the majority don't, aren't at that place and are kind of just trying to figure out what works for them. And it's so confusing. There's so much information out there, you can look up anything and it'll tell you this diet is the right thing. And so for the most part, clients are very confused to begin with.
That makes sense. So you've chosen the carnivore lifestyle. When you made that transition over, how did it make you feel? Like, did you feel better or worse, and why are you continuing it now?
Gosh, I felt great right from the start. I'm one of those people that just flipped the switch and didn't really have a lot of problems transitioning. I had a little bit of digestive upset, but I didn't have the keto flu or the huge dip in energy. Granted, I was pretty low carb before, but not really as low carb as I thought I was. All the net carb stuff is a bunch of baloney.
True.
So yeah, I just felt really good. And when I started, I don't think I really thought, "Oh, this is it. I'm going to do this forever." It was more like, okay, this is probably the only thing I haven't tried, and it worked for Amanda, so I'm going for it. And then, yeah, I just started and never stopped, and I love it.
That's great. I'm glad that you had success with that for sure. Do you see yourself going back to, adding plants and things like that, or?
No, no, not at all. And I'm very sensitive to even spices. I mean, I can do salt. That's it. Yeah, no. Anytime if I accidentally get a hold of something, something is seasoned, I immediately can tell. I swell up, my face breaks out. Yeah, not
Wow.
fun. So I'm not going back. Plus, I really don't like vegetables and fruits anyway. I never have. So it's kind of like, why would I do that?
I'm with you 100% for sure. That's awesome. So for those that are watching and don't really understand, the carnivore way of eating, they're listening to Barb and they hear, she's had tremendous results eating this really strange way. How do you actually achieve that? Like, what does your diet look like during the day?
Yeah, I generally eat 2 meals a day. I'll eat my first meal around noon. Second meal, I like to eat it earlier, but sometimes it's just not practical. So sometime between 5 and 7. And usually for my first meal, I will have eggs and a burger patty. Second meal, I usually have some kind of beef. I might have additional eggs. I mean, probably the majority of my diet is the beef, butter, bacon, eggs, but not so much on the bacon. And the butter I have to be careful with. My body doesn't like dairy. I love dairy, but it doesn't like me. So yeah, and I know people think, well, where's the variety? Oh, you can fix eggs tons of ways, and there are all kinds of cuts of beef to play around with. But I mean, I love ground beef. I love steak. You know, I'm happy to eat any of it, and I'm excited about every meal. Like, it's not something that I'm like, oh no, I'm gonna have to go eat eggs again. I mean, I really enjoy it.
That's awesome. So has your mindset changed after you went carnivore in terms of food?
Yeah, I think so. I would definitely say that I'm one of those people who's more of an abstainer than a moderator as far as, loved sugar, would love to, eat a whole cake. I was not one who, just eat a couple of bites and put it aside. But honestly, since going carnivore and not having any sweet tastes, I mean, I don't crave it at all. Like, it doesn't bother me. So I think that there's a lot more peace around food than there used to be. And I just enjoy being satiated.
I love that. So we met at one of the meetups. You've been to a couple of the Healing Humanity meetups. Can you kind of talk about maybe the meetups and what your perspective is on everybody getting together?
Yeah, so we met for the first time in Tampa in February. And I think you were sitting across from me actually in the restaurant, Texas Day Brazil. But that meetup was the first one I'd been to, and it was so much fun. And it's just something to be in a room surrounded with people who are like-minded, because especially with carnivore, I'm used to being oh, she's the weird one, what is she doing eating all meat? And so that was really cool to get to know other carnivores. Actually, met some people who I'm really good friends with now. And so it was super fun. And one of the friends I met there actually asked me if I wanted to go to Yuma, Tennessee. And so I went on my birthday. So for my 55th birthday, I went to Yuma, and that was also a great time. Again, just got to meet lots of people and then hear a lot of experts speak. So I'm hooked, like, love the meetups. I also went to Meat Stock in May, and
Oh, cool.
I think you guys are going to be there next year.
Yep, we'll be there next year.
Yeah. Oh, it was awesome. It was just kind of like having a 4-day meetup. So definitely do that next year. And I have some plans to do. I'm going to go to Syracuse in September, and I'll be at Hack Your Health in November. So
Excellent.
yeah, anybody that is embracing this way of eating, I mean, I just encourage them to go to a meetup, to get involved in communities, because it's so important to have that support around you. And it's just fun.
Yeah, it is. Like we're sort of the odd birds, strange people that eat this way, and it's a lot of fun just to connect with, like you said, like-minded people, and just hang out and know that you're not going to be judged for eating in such a strange manner. But I mean, honestly, it's not strange, right? Ancestrally, this is the way that we ate. Or people can debate, how many years, but it seems like for the majority of human existence, this is the way that we've eaten. And the new way of eating is it really is a new way, and it's just been just a blip in regards to the overall time of human existence. So
Yeah, and rather a disastrous blip.
yeah, for sure, for sure. Excellent. So you also have a YouTube channel, right?
Yes. So my YouTube channel is at No Carb Barb. And right now there is one lone video up, but I have some plans and some things that I'm working on. So there will be more. I just, and with YouTube, I just want to have fun. And I think it's important to put information out there, but that's just my take is kind of, hey, carnivore is, it may be weird and extreme in some ways, but it's also fun. And I think, looking at the lighter side of things is kind of what my angle is.
Okay, that's awesome. Yeah, I look forward to more content there, and I've subscribed and hit the notification bell, and I suggest that everyone else do the same. And I'll make sure that that's in the description below also.
Oh, thank you.
So I want to talk about some of your other health issues that you had, and you may have mentioned these: Raynaud's, GERD, IBS, esophageal dyskinesia, diverticulitis, hiatal hernia, these sorts of things. So, you can talk about whatever you want with those, but I also want to get your take on potentially what you believe was the cause of having all these conditions, especially with your newfound knowledge, with your certifications and stuff.
Okay, so a lot of those like GERD and the hiatal hernia and diverticulosis and all of those things are all digestive issues, and IBS or irritable bowel syndrome. My husband and I used to joke I had irate bowel syndrome. It's just. And at one point, we had this joke. I had intestinal frogs because you could just hear just gurgling and stuff going on. So that's, you just have to laugh about that. So lots of digestive issues in there. And then Raynaud's is another autoimmune condition. And it's just kind of where I think the capillaries in your extremities shrink, and it's like you get really cold, like really cold hands and feet, and sometimes they turn blue. I mean, really, the autoimmune diseases, I mean, basically they're all inflammation. There's 150 different names for them, but it's basically all the same root as far as, hey, your body is inflamed for some reason. And as far as what caused the diseases, I mean, I kind of like Dr. Chafee's theory of autoimmunity. I mean, the standard theory of autoimmunity is, well, suddenly your body starts attacking itself for no reason. So something triggers it, could be a virus or whatever, and then your body says attack. Well, what Dr. Chafee says is, hey, there's something that the body sees as a threat. There's something there that's not supposed to be, and it's going after that. And that makes a lot more sense to me. Then your body's attacking, because why would your body stop attacking until it's done with? So if there's a threat in the body and your body attacks until the threat seems to be gone for a while, then you go into remission. So, I mean, that theory kind of makes sense to me. I mean, and goodness, I mean, there's so many things that we could be exposed to, and just our lifestyles and food and all of that. So, yeah, I don't know. I would love to know the root cause. I mean, that's one thing. It's kind of like, I just wish I knew, what was it? What started it? Is there a reason? And I may never know that, but I would love to know personally.
Yeah. So basically, I mean, your symptoms got better, and some these issues have gone into remission, or we don't want to say the C word, but that was all with a diet change, right? So it seems like it is diet related, for the reason why these issues may have surfaced to begin with.
Yeah, and it very well could be. And I definitely do think the diet is what has put them at bay. I mean, it's really crazy to think out of all the years and the GI doctors and the stuff that going carnivore would heal my digestive system. I mean, the last time that I went to the GI doctor, it was a new doctor, and I liked him. I mean, he was a good guy. And I told him, I said, I really want to do things more naturally. And he said, well, I'm an evil Western doctor. And so I was like, okay. But his suggestion to me for motility in the gut was, okay, I want you to really bulk up on fiber. I want you to take a whole bunch of psyllium husk. And then we're going to give you a bunch of laxatives and to push that through. And I was like, that doesn't make
What?
any sense at all.
Did you do it?
So I called GI doctors. I say GI stands for gaslighting intimidators.
That's true. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So did you actually try that?
No.
Okay.
I'm like, I am not going to do that. That doesn't make any sense at all.
It, so it's just blows my mind that the standard recommendations are, more fiber, with digestive issues, and what most people are finding out that the exact opposite is what you're actually supposed to be doing, like zero fiber, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's completely counterintuitive, and anybody I talk to about that just thinks, I'm nuts. But it's really true. I mean, it has completely worked for me. And I guess I thought it was kind of nuts. I'm like, oh, how is that supposed to work? But I mean, my digestion has been the best it's been my whole life.
I love that. That's awesome. So is there anything that you want to share that maybe we haven't discussed yet?
I don't think so. I just want to encourage people, though, to join a carnivore community, get connected with people, and not only that, be an advocate for your health. Like, your health matters, and if you don't feel good, then something's going on. Don't let a doctor or anybody else say, oh, well, you're too young or you're too old or whatever, you're just depressed. I mean, really delve into what's going on, because that's important. I mean, your health is your life, and you deserve to be healthy. You deserve to live a full life. And so I think that's super important that everybody realizes that, just go for it. Make yourself a priority.
That's awesome. So along those lines, what would you suggest to someone if someone is interested in, changing their diet to a carnivore diet to help with symptoms like with issues like what you had? What would you suggest?
Go to YouTube. Yeah, I mean, honestly, look up those doctors and look up Healing Humanity. Look up, and, I think that there needs to be a balance between the science and lived experience, which that's what I love about Healing Humanity, because you guys are doing a fantastic job of melding those two, because it's important to understand what's going on and to realize, hey, there's science behind it. But there's nothing like hearing somebody's story, and it's just miraculous, all of the different conditions that people have healed, and just hearing their stories and realizing that, hey, they've gotten their lives back. I mean, that is very inspiring. So, changing your way of life and diet is hard. Switching to carnivore is hard. People may make fun of you and call you weird. But when you understand the benefits and really immerse yourself in it, I think that makes it a lot easier to try it. And that's what I encourage people. Just try it for 30 days, 60 days. It's not going to kill you in that length of time, if it is horrible, and just see what you think.
That's great advice. Who couldn't do 30 days of ribeyes, right? I mean, that just seems like torture.
Way better than 30 days of vegetables.
Yeah. Yeah, and rotted vegetables in the fridge and just wasted. That's one of the things that's really surprised me with eating this way is there was so much waste before. Like we would throw away like pounds and pounds of eggplant and lettuce and look in the back of the fridge and oh my gosh, what is this? Like soupy pile of it's some broccoli that we forgot back in the back of the fridge, from weeks ago, and it's just so much goes to waste, and now there's virtually no waste whatsoever. Even if we have bones left over, we'll end up making a bone broth with that, and and it just blows me away that we went from so much waste. I should probably do a video on that. The standard American diet, how much trash you throw away from the packaging and just rotten food and things like that versus just eating a steak, right?
Oh, yeah. I totally agree. I used to feel really guilty for all the stuff that I would throw out every single week and the stuff that got missed that I didn't throw out that was growing and taking on a life of its own in my refrigerator.
Right. Yep, absolutely. Well, Barb, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on, and I'm definitely looking forward to connecting you with others that potentially need some coaching, to bring their health journey to the next level. I'll make sure that I have all of those links in the description below the video. So with that, Barb, I really appreciate you for coming on and sharing your journey, and look forward to seeing you again at one of the meetups.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.